You worked 40 years. You paid into the system every single paycheck, every single year, without ever missing one. And now, in 2026, if you earn just $1 too much, the government quietly starts taking your pension back. It is called the clawback. And most Canadians have absolutely no idea how easy it is to trigger. You will not get a warning letter in advance. You will not see it coming. You will simply open your OAS statement, one ordinary month, and notice that the number is smaller than it used to be. This is not a glitch. This is not a mistake. This is the CRA doing exactly what the rules allow it to do, reaching back into the retirement you spent a lifetime building and pulling money out. So let me show you three things. The exact line where your pension starts to disappear, the number that makes it vanish completely, and the one quiet account that can make you almost invisible to the entire system. Here is the line in the sand. In 2026, the OAS recovery tax begins, the moment your net world income passes $95,323. Now listen carefully to those three words, net world income. This is not your gross salary. This is not the number printed on your paycheck. It is every dollar of pension, every withdrawal, every dividend, every capital gain, added together from everywhere on earth. Stay $1 below that line, and you keep every single penny of your OAS. Cross it, and the machine switches on. The official name for all of this is the Old Age Security Pension Recovery Tax, but nobody actually calls it that. Everybody calls it the clawback, because that is exactly what it feels like. So how does the machine work once it is running? It is brutally, almost insultingly, simple. For every single dollar you earn above $95,323, the CRA takes back 15 cents of your old age security. 15 cents on every dollar? That is 15%, evaporating on top of the regular income tax you are already paying on that very same dollar. Think about what that actually means. This is not really a tax. A normal tax funds roads and hospitals and schools. This is something different. This is a refund. The government is asking you to hand back the retirement safety net it spent 40 years promising you. The maximum OAS payment in 2026 is roughly $742 a month, and the clawback is engineered to shrink that number dollar by dollar until there is nothing left at all. And here is the part that catches so many people off guard. That 15 cents does not replace your income tax. It stacks on top of it. So on every dollar above the threshold, you might already be paying 30 or 40 cents in combined federal and provincial tax. And then the clawback quietly takes another 15 cents on top. For that one slice of income, you could be handing back more than half of every dollar you earn. It is one of the highest effective tax rates in the entire country, and it is aimed squarely at ordinary retirees who simply save too well. Because yes, it really can reach zero. There comes a point where your OAS does not just get smaller, it disappears completely. We call these the Wipeout Zones. If you are between the ages of 65 and 74, your OAS is entirely gone the moment your net world income reaches roughly $154,753. And if you are 75 or older, where the pension is a little larger, thanks to a permanent top-up, the line sits slightly higher, at roughly $160,696. Above those numbers, the recovery tax has swallowed the entire pension. 40 years of contributions, erased for the year, on paper, all because of a single income threshold that most people did not even know existed. Now here is where this story turns genuinely cruel, because the people who trigger the clawback are almost never the reckless spenders. They are the careful savers, the ones who did everything right, the ones who followed the advice. Here's the trap. For decades, you were told to pour your money into your RRSP, save hard, defer the tax, let it compound, watch it grow. And that was good advice, right up until the moment you retire. Because at age 71, your RRSP is forced to convert into a RRIF, a registered retirement income fund. And a RRIF comes with one rule you can never escape. Every single year, the government forces you to withdraw a minimum amount from it, whether you need that money or not. You could be perfectly comfortable, with more than enough to live on, and the CRA will still command you to pull those dollars out. And every one of those forced withdrawals counts as income. It lands directly onto your net world income, pushing you closer and closer to that $95,323 line. This is the single most common reason retirees accidentally cross the threshold and trigger the clawback. Your own discipline, your own decades of careful saving, becomes the very weapon that takes your pension away. But there is a hero in this story. and its name is the TFSA. Money that you take out of a tax-free savings account does not count toward your net world income, not 1 cent of it. It is completely, totally invisible to the clawback formula. Let that truly sink in for a moment. You could pull $10,000, $20,000, even $50,000 out of your TFSA to live on this year. And in the eyes of the CRA, your income has not moved a single inch. This is the invisible income. The exact same dollar that would quietly destroy your pension if it came out of a RRIF does absolutely nothing when it comes out of a TFSA. One account springs the trap. The other one walks straight past it, untouched. So what do you actually do with all of this? Let me tell you about a couple I will call the Wilsons. He is 66. She is 64. They own their home, and they have one small rental property that brings in a modest check each month. On the surface, they do not look wealthy. They certainly do not feel wealthy. But when you add up the rental income, their CPP, and their mandatory RRIF withdrawals, their net world income has quietly crept above $95,323 each. Suddenly, the Wilsons are officially too rich for the very pension they spent their entire working lives paying into. And it stings, because the loss is real. Push their income $20,000 past the line, and that 15-cent rule quietly claws back $3,000 of their pension for the year. Gone. Simply for crossing an invisible threshold they never knew was there. So they sit down at the kitchen table, and they look hard at their choices. The first lever is timing. They could delay taking OAS all the way to age 70, earning a permanent boost of 36%, and use those extra years to arrange their income in a smarter shape before the pension ever begins. The second lever is the RRSP Meltdown. Instead of leaving that RRSP to balloon quietly in the dark until 71 forces their hand, they deliberately begin withdrawing from it earlier in their lower income 60s, spreading the tax bill out over more years and shrinking the future RRIF withdrawals that would otherwise blow them straight past the threshold. And the third lever is the TFSA. In any single year that their income is drifting dangerously toward the line, they simply stop pulling from the RRIF and pull from the TFSA instead, keeping the number the CRA sees safely, comfortably below the threshold. And here's the remarkable part. None of these moves change how much money the Wilsons actually have. Not a dollar. They change only what the CRA is allowed to see. And that is the real lesson hiding underneath this entire system. Wealth in Canada is not really about how much you have. It is about definitions. It is about how the CRA chooses to define the money that you spend. Two retirees can live in identical houses, drive identical cars, and spend the exact same amount every single month. One of them keeps their full OAS. The other one loses all of it. And the only difference between them is which account the money came out of. The clawback is not truly a wall. It is a test of whether you understand the rules of the game you are actually playing. And now, you do. So before you take your next withdrawal, before you sell that investment, before you simply assume your pension is safe, ask yourself one single question. Not how much am I spending, but how will the CRA define it? Because in retirement, in Canada, that one quiet question can be worth many thousands of Canadian dollars every single year. If you learned something, make sure to like this video and hit subscribe. See you in the next one.